Welcome back to the Sootopolis City League. I'm joined with Evan today. Hello, Evan. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Yeah, so this is our second match of our top four. Things are getting very exciting. Like I said earlier, we are going. These are money matches here, and the players
Mm.
really like the teams really need to do whatever it takes to get that win and move on to the grand finals. I think that's a really good honor for all the teams here. The Haoli Heat, where we're presenting two teams, the matchup between Haoli Heat and Sunsteel Strikers. We did not see the Sunsteel Strikers last week. And I think Haoli Heat is a team that's pretty dear to you, right, Kamikasa?
Well, I mean, there's Beckett. Beckett's a great friend of mine. We built a good team in the Spikeman format together. He's not fielded this week, but the other people are great people as well, obviously. Both teams really. I mean, even if the Sunset Strikers win, you can't really feel bad because they totally deserve it. And yeah, I think today we are bringing some Series 13 action, right?
Yep, so
With
we'll be playing the last Series 13 match between Artcar and TheSturdyGraveler. One quick thing to note here is that Klefki has been very strong, a strong candidate for Series 13 in the Sunsteel Strikers, but with a close match here of 2-1, unfortunately loses to Francis, also known as the 10 Phoenix, so a bit of momentum from the Haoli Heat here moving forward. And like we saw the Haoli Heat um had a very rocky start, but really did super well towards the end of the league that and moved on to the wild cards. And I'm very curious to see if this momentum actually pulls through for them and allows them to claim that win for the finals. If the Sturdy Graveler were to win this match that we are featuring right now, it's 3-1. It's so much pressure onto the Sunsteel
yes,
Strikers.
definitely. On the other hand, though, if Artcar wins, it's 2-2. So there's a really big distinction in this game going on, right? If you're 3-1, you have this huge momentum. You only need one more win. But if you're 2-2, it's just totally the same for both teams, which is really interesting.
Ah,
And yeah, we will see it because the buy that Sunsteel Strikers got is some like is a double-edged sword, I guess, because they had 1 week of a break, which can be good, but also maybe people got a bit lazy and didn't play for the week. So Holy Eat had to play like through all
mm-hmm.
weeks, right? So they may be a bit more prepared, but yeah, we
Yeah,
will see if the Sunsteel Strikers manage to come up with something, scouting their opponents because they needed to play 1 week more than them, and yeah, I think it's gonna be exciting.
true. Real quick, when these two teams last met, it's actually similar to the previous match of the Tokyo Thunders versus the Torcos. They actually played back in week 3. So in week 3, the Haoli Heat won 5-3 against Sunsteel Strikers. So a lot of things are building up towards the hype for Haoli Heat. So let's see if they can really pull this off as we're gonna transit to show the players right here.
Hmm. Yeah, on the left side we have the Sturdy Graveler from Holy Heat, who is trying to secure the third win of this week. Yeah, he's a very known player from Norway. He played for the World Cup team this
Mm-hmm.
year, and he also is the AML champion from another team league. And yeah, he had a pretty great rating in NIC, managed to get some CP there. So he definitely knows how to play team leagues. He definitely knows how to play this ladder best of one stuff, and I feel like in Series 13 you can go with a lot of surprises, you know. So maybe the experience he has in ladder formats helps him in this kind of format as well.
Yeah, that's really true. And on the opposite side, we have Artcar. I believe Artcar is from Italy and also like so part of a team that won a league. This is NPA, and he was champions together with the puppy. So both players here, like, they have the taste of victory, getting all the way to first place, and probably can bring this experience on to the situation right now, moving on to the finals. Artcar is also Battle Frontier runner-up. I think that was a tour back then in Series 10. So no strangers to like like a restricted format here. And then in uh, January earlier this year, he managed to get top 4 in the one of the first few Series 12 tours run by Joe UX9. So a very formidable player in the online scene, and curious to see how he brings, like in this last ride of Dynamax, and how he applies all this knowledge to this matchup here, as we do see Artcar bring a pretty like bulky team, with the Calyrex Ice Palkia combination, and also the Zacian and Kyogre combination together, versus something like a Xerneas coming out from Sturdy Graveler. It's a very unique pick. I think it might be the first Xerneas we see throughout this whole league in the Series 13 format.
Yeah, I think both teams are really interesting and really different. I think it's a really cool idea to have this Zacian Kyogre team that's in almost every Series 13 team, and then pair it with the Calyrex Ice and Palkia thing, because Calyrex Ice, like the rain really helps Calyrex Ice out because it like doesn't have the fire weakness with that. And
Mm-hmm.
Palkia also appreciates the rain, right, for getting the Max Geyser or Hydro Pump boosts on its water type attacks as well. And I'm really interested in seeing how this one plays out. If they go for the Tailwind variant with the Tornadoes, or if they go for Trick Room. So yeah, I think let's jump right into the game and see what happens. And I really hope we can see the Xerneas as well, because Xerneas is such a cool pick. The only real problem in the opposing team is the
Mm-hmm.
Zacian, I think.
Yeah, so Artcar actually chooses yet another pair that we see ever so often. We call these the Torn Ogre Teamies. So yeah, straight up leading with offense right there, as the Sturdy Graveler kind of responds with his own Kyogre lead. I kind of I missed the drizzle from either Kyogre. So we like, do you manage to notice which Kyogre is faster? But
Yeah,
otherwise, like,
I think it was 30 Gravelers, because
oh,
as we see right now, it is the Choice Scarf Kyogre set. So I think his Kyogre definitely will be the fastest, the faster one on this field, because Choice Scarf is a very uncommon item right now, right?
yeah, I would say like half half is pretty okay in Series 13, and he has been helping quite a lot of players here. But having the Incineroar there just really helps against the Tornadus lead. It's so obvious, so Tornadus does go for the protect here. Incineroar has to follow the script and go for that fake out. The Kyogre is actually going for Thunder, very very useful against opposing opposing Kyogre, which takes so much damage. Risk the paralysis, actually gets it, and now Artcar chooses to go for Water Spout, so probably went for Tailwind and Water Spout there. Actually cannot take the Incineroar out.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like this Choice Scarf coming in clutch here. Yeah, he does get a bit lucky with the
Mm-hmm.
paralysis, which is nice as well. For him, because now his Kyogre will outspeed it even in Tailwind. Yeah, and like getting the Thunder off by fake on Tornadoes is really clever, because Artcar had to go for the Origin Impulse to get the knockout on the Incineroar. I was kind of worried that he let the Incineroar into the Kyogre, potential Palkia stuff. But it worked out really well here, and I'm really excited to see how he can like like use this advantage he got here in the turn, because right now it looks really great because of the paralysis.
Yeah, really well said. And also the Thunder is just a good move to click into, because the two Pokemon in front of Sturdy Graveler's Kyogre are weak to electric, so you can just keep clicking that button. Sturdy Graveler actually opts not to go for that Tailwind there, which might be a very good read, as the Artcar's like uh Kyogre is like a bigger threat. So instead, the Tornadoes actually goes for that Hurricane,
Oh,
and actually gets another status onto Sturdy Graveler's side this time. So a bit of revenge there. Paralysis for confusion, but then you can kind of switch the confusion away, as this paralysis kind of sticks through, right, with that speed drop. So overall, like, it's a very strange trade there. But what's interesting here is that Artcar's Tornadoes did not go for Tailwind.
Yeah. I think he didn't want to go for Tailwind right now because his Kyogre would be slower anyway, because he
Hmm.
now knows that the opposing Kyogre is Choice Scarf. The confusion is really, really annoying now, because you can't attack with your Zacian freely, right? But what's really nice about the Dynamax in general is that you can Dynamax your Kyogre now if you
Uh,
want, and he seems to do it, and change your change your attacks, right? You were never able to do this before, but since Generation 8, you can just Dynamax your Kyogre now, change attacks from Lightning to Water for the time you're Dynamax, and yeah, be a huge threat for the opposing Landorus.
yeah, very well said. And I think SturdyGraveler totally recognizes it and recognizes the power of Kyogre like in this situation and against this matchup. Taking out the opposing Kyogre, you don't have to be worried of any switch in to resist those water type moves. And yeah, right now SturdyGraveler's Kyogre can just go ham. The Arca actually chooses not to switch too freely. Finally goes for that tailwind and now goes for that earthquake. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see if this Shuka Berry Incineroar can survive the earthquake, but no, the Landorus proves to be powerful enough and removes the Incineroar that could be important for that last mystery Pokemon in the back. Landorus also reveals Life Orb here. So Max Geyser obviously goes into the Landorus because if the Landorus doesn't max guard and switches out, then the Pokemon in the back would take too much damage. So I think Arca is really playing well here, even though he had a very rocky start, and he's trying his best to get back in the game.
Yeah, now I think his last Pokemon really has to take everything it's got to get to
Ooh.
victory. We do see the Zacian coming out here. Incineroar went down, so
Mm-hmm.
there's no more attack dropping. So I think it might even come down to whether or not the Kyogre is able to live the Behemoth Blade. Because the Xerneas isn't really doing enough into the Desertion, even not even with a Geomancy boost, I don't think. And he always has the speed control on his side, right?
Yeah, Arca has to go for that last choice of Dynamax. Only Tornadoes can Dynamax now, and
Yeah,
I think you're right. You really have to see if Behemoth Blade plus Max Airstream can finish the job onto a Kyogre. Kyogre is generally known to be very bulky, and I think from Sturdy Graveler's side, it makes sense to just go for that Geomancy there. Just no fear of the Zacian. So here's the moment of truth. Yeah, the Behemoth Blade is coming in. Is this double up enough, right?
yeah. Ooh, that seems like a lot of damage. If the Tornadoes is targeting the Kyogre, which I think it will, yeah, we will see the Kyogre
Oh.
going down here. So now it will be kind of rough to go up against the Zacian, right?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, Kyogre removed altogether. I think Sturdy Graveler did well. You have to give Arca a choice, right? And not like blindly just max guard there. This Dazzling Gleam, unfortunately, is like quite pitiful damage into both
Yeah.
the Pokemon here. I think the Dynamax just helps the Tornadoes. It's just a timely situation that it was able to Dynamax under Tailwind. And yeah, I think that just helps it survive well against the Xerneas. In my opinion, the Xerneas could have went for Geomancy in the last turn. It could have been kind of like better to pressure the Tornadoes on the opposing side. As now we see like Sturdy Gravelers like needs to try his best to stall out Dynamax here, and he's playing really defensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But even after the Dynamax, I think Tornadoes and Zacian together will have the speed advantage. So he just has to keep clicking Airstream now. Yeah, I think into the Zacian is
Mm-hmm.
might even be correct. But the good thing is that I've seen that the Zacian has imprisoned. So what we might end up seeing is maybe that Artcar might attack into the Xerneas while attacking into a protect, and then Zacian might to imprison. So
Oh.
the Zacian is not able to press Behemoth Blade in the turn after. I think that's the only win condition for Sturdy Graveler here, because he lost this Incineroar. This
Mm-hmm.
this early in the game, I would say. It's really interesting to see because he got really fortunate with the thunder power, but in the end, Zacian is just too much to handle for this team, right?
Yeah, so this is the moment of truth. Study Gravel locks the moves in. The question now
Yes.
would be: will Artcar's Zacian be strong enough to take out the Zacian on Study Graveler's side? So it's going to come out now. Because even if the Beamer Blade does not take it out, maybe the airstream is enough. So I was thinking maybe that it was a critical hit, but I would say that at that range, it's pretty comfortable for a Zacian to take out the opposing Zacian, right? So I
Yeah.
think like if not the double up with that airstream could have been better, but Artcar really understands that the opposing Zacian is the threat and consistently doubles up into it in the previous two turns, really making full use of this incidental dynamics of the tornadoes. So here it's just Xerneas against the world, and let's see like how much damage. I think Sturdy Graveler could just stay in and see the damage like into the Zacian and have a gauge of how things go.
Yeah, I think he might be worried that he will get outsped anyway because his Zacian now is at +3, I think. Yeah, it still gets a Terran up as well, so the Zacian will surely be faster than the Xerneas now. Um, so yeah, we see the first game going to Artcar and the Sunsteel Strikers. I think mostly because of the like resources being managed really nicely by Artcar. Like he decided to give up his Kyogre really early. Because it got paralyzed and he
Mm-hmm.
got surprised by the choice scarf item. He was like, okay, if I switch out here and let something take the thunder, it doesn't really do anything for me in the later stages of the game, the Kyogre, so I might as well get my free switch in. So, and that worked out perfectly, I'd say.
Really well said. I think Arca did really well to understand the situation and not freely and not switch haphazardly, right? Trying to play defensively in any way, because if he switched, then he would be taking just heavy fire and heavy damage, and that would be disadvantageous. So he really just played some form of chess or like checkers and traded mons well to make sure that he still has the Zacian safe in the back, and at the same time with that tornadoes with the all important speed control. So the last part where
Hmm.
he tailwind just to make sure his Zacian can move first is very funny because it's way too fast already. But overall, yeah, really well played and well managed. And I think Sturdy Graveler needs to go back to the drawing board then formulate a better game plan and not fall prey to a late game tailwind.
Yes. I think that's the number one priority, getting rid of these tornadoes before it can set up a second tailwind. I don't think you can get rid of the first Tyrant. I think you have to play through the first Tyrant because we did see that protect on the tornadoes. So
Mm.
fake out plus a move doesn't really work there. So yeah, he really has to come up with a strategy to stall out the first Tyrant and get the knockout on the tornadoes before the first Tyrant ends, so he doesn't get up a second one, and maybe win with a choice scarf Kyogre later then.
Yeah, really well said. And yeah, I think revealing the choice scarf Kyogre is also a little bit tricky in game one, and Sturdy Gravel has to kind of understand that Arca knows that it is an option now, right? So wow, I think I wanted to say like maybe Sturdy Graveler will want to preserve the Kyogre for the back. Apparently he does not do
Mm-hmm.
so here, but Arca actually changes it up and makes things a little bit more tricky for Sturdy Graveler in the form of a trick room option, right? And previously there was that tornadoes that was super hard to beat, but now he's presenting this Palkia that is very hard to defeat as well from the Kyogre's perspective.
Yeah, I think I think both of the players have to make sure to keep their resources intact, right? I think Incineroar is really needed to
Mm.
keep the Zacian in check, and Zacian is really needed to keep a potential Xerneas in check. Of course, we as the commentators are now
Mm.
seeing that he doesn't have a Xerneas in the back, but Artcar doesn't know this, right? And I think the Palkia really helps to pressure the Incineroar to even pressure the Kyogre as well, because Palkia doesn't really take a lot of damage um, from Kyogre's water
Mm-hmm.
type attacks. So yeah, I think Palkia is a really great adaptation here, and it will be interesting to see how the City Cover will play through this tricky situation.
I think players are playing a little bit of mind games against each other because like Artcar is saying, I defeated your Xerneas the last time. I don't think you will bring it in the second game, and actually calls it right here. He actually goes ahead to just go like offensive right off the bat with a very good lead right against the Incineroar.
Mhm.
It's tricky to go for that Max Dragon into two possible fairy type switch-ins. So let's see what the Palkia chooses to do here in Dynamax, right? Because it's opting not to go for Trick Room, which is really interesting. Zacian naturally protects against a Scarf Water Spout. So Water Spout goes in, tickles the Palkia, but Palkia is gonna move next, and does it go for the Geyser? It does into possibly the Incineroar slot, and let's see how well this Assault Vest Zekrom can take it.
Oh,
Oh my god, the rain is just too powerful.
yeah, it's not very effective. The Sword Vessel it still takes so much damage. It's kind of crazy. For a second, I thought that if he protects the Zacian, he will probably attack the Kyogre, so the Kyogre's Water Spout will be he will be locked into Water Spout
Oh.
because of the Choice Scarf, right? And it will be like significantly weakened in power the turn after if he attacks the Kyogre. But he really, I think he really did well in just securing a safe max water type attack in whatever comes in on
Mm-hmm.
the Incineroar side. And yeah, significantly weaken the Zekrom, and the Water Spout or Max Geyser now will probably not be enough to break through the Palkia in the end.
Yeah, really well said. I think understanding that Incineroar is the pivotal thing to remove. Maybe Arca has certain physical type mons in the back, and that's kind of part of his strategy. So really understanding how he should be playing there. Actually, Sturdy Graveler Dynamaxes the Kyogre and losing that speed advantage, and Zacian just doesn't worry about it. Goes straight for the play rough to secure that KO onto Zekrom. Zekrom really did nothing here for Sturdy Graveler. I think it's such a tricky situation. I think Arca really rolled through with a very good lead here.
Ooh, he gets the knockout. That's really interesting because right now it doesn't really matter what the Palkia is doing here. It's not killing the Kyogre by any
Mm-hmm.
chance. But right now this Zacian is dead, so Xerneas would be really great here. But we did see that he didn't bring the Xerneas, but he did bring the Zacian in the end. So um, I think the threat of the opposing Zacian is gone now. So you can maybe bring out your own Zacian and yeah, go from there. But he just decides to bring out his Incineroar instead.
Yeah, I think it's possibly because Sturdy Graveler with that imprisoned choice lacks that like the fairy type damage into the Palkia, and yeah really wants to wait for the Palkia to end its Dynamax and finally get that Zacian to come in and do damage. So
Mhm.
Incineroar unfortunately has to be the sitting duck here to come in and take that damage. But I guess the one upside from Sturdy Graveler is he staggered his turns of Dynamax, so let's see if this Kyogre can make an impact there. Naturally, the Tornado should protect here from fake out pressure from this Incineroar. Sturdy Graveler actually follows the script here and goes for that fake out. Kyogre has to respond with Geyser, and then Palkia is gonna move next. This is interesting though. Are the Kyogre and Palkia speed tying?
Yeah, that could be that might be the case. I don't think it mattered too much till this point in the game, but yeah, I think that might be the case. Of course, after the Dynamax, the Kyogre will be faster again. But right now it seems like they are just of equal speed.
Or maybe I'm just like seeing things wrong. Cause the Kyogre just keeps attacking first, but in my mind, like Palkia is naturally faster. Yeah, but the way things play out here, Arca just understands that you just don't have to touch the Kyogre for now, and take out whoever the Kyogre is beside, right? And it does really
Yeah.
well to just force this situation where Sturdy Graveler is just left with last two Pokemon here, and yeah, let's see how things play out. The Tailwind's naturally gonna come out, and the Palkia is gonna probably have to hit a Hydro Pump here to secure the
Yeah, I
game.
think it might come down to the Hydro Pump hit or miss, and It seems like it does connect. Oh, does it? Oh, normally those imprisonations are not very bulky, and
Oh!
oh, it lives, but it misses. No, it misses the
Ah!
playoff. Oh my god! I didn't think it would lift it. Missing the playoff really hurts him here. I think that might be game losing even.
Yeah, then what I said earlier probably doesn't make sense because you could bring in the Zacian on that turn, but Sturdy Graveler chooses to bring the Incineroar instead. But I think it makes sense now because he understands that Tornadoes might be in the back. Because yeah, bringing the Zacian in front of a Dynamax Palkia is tricky. So brings in the Zacian on this turn, but so unfortunate to miss the all important play rough. I think there could be a chance, right? If the Zacian were to hit the play rough, it actually survives, then the Kyogre can try and close out the game. But yeah, I think the Tailwind is still
Yeah,
proving to be very important for Artcar here. And he still has certain tools, right? He still has that
that's true.
Tornadoes in the back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, RNG aside, I think Artcar played really well because if you think about it, even if the player was able to hit here and knock out the Palkia, the Sturdy Graveler's Choice Scarf Cargo was still locked into Water Spout, was significantly weakened, and would have most likely lost to the opposing Kyogre as well, which was even faster because of the Tailwind. So
Mm.
I think it wasn't a game won by RNG by any means. I think Artcar really played his resources really well. Made the call in game two that
Zernia's not coming, right?
that Graveler is going for the same lead again, and yeah, just calling him out on that, getting a huge boost of damage directly at turn one. So yeah, really well played by him.
Yeah, very masterfully played. Very cool to see and cast as well. A lot to learn from. And what do I want to say? Like Artcar was really able. Like it's a story of one team having tailwind. In a lot of other series 13 teams, you see the Whimsicott being the culprit, but then here instead it's the Tornadoes, right? And then the Tornadoes actually had some action and would could Dynamax even in turn one. So I would say
Yeah,
this is
get even more speed control, right? So
yeah.
carrying through this first tailwind or the second tailwind, you just got the max airstreams and even more speed control. So the Choice Scarf Kyogre was just lovable speed because like Artcar's team was just way faster after that.
So that's kind of the advantage of having a Tornadoes over a Whimsicott in a Dynamax format.
Mm.
But overall, this you can just summarize this as a story of one team has Tailwind, the other team doesn't have Tailwind, and then the team with Tailwind wins quite easily because so much pressure and so much speed advantage coming out from them from Artcar.
Yeah, and I think the Palkia in combination with the Zacian was a really tough nut to break.
Oh.
Of course, he had the option to go for a imprison, but because of the speed control, right,
Mm-hmm.
it was never possible to imprison the opposing Zacian before it can move. And Atka making the right choices, prioritizing, focusing the Zacian before the Xerneas. So yeah, in the end, it was just won by the speed control and by really nice resource management.
Yep, so very good games to both sides. But Artcar, with this win, manages to tie it up 2-2
Yeah.
between the strikers and Howley Heat. So things are getting spicy and getting very interesting here. So yeah, we will have two more matches for you guys. Let's see how things play out between these two teams. I think both our matchups for top four are so exciting and like really going down to the wire and just shows how formidable both of these teams are. Do you have any other closing thoughts?
No, I think it is just interesting to see that the series is tied now because three more games to go. It's basically a best of three between those players, right? Whoever two players win, their team advances to the finals, and yeah, I think it will be interesting either way.
Yep. So stay tuned for two more of our matches coming up, and don't go away.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.